Overwatch 2 PVE is still set to launch at some point in 2023, and one of the biggest reasons we're so excited for it to finally hit our screens is the chance to unlock some brand new talents and abilities for basically every hero in the game. And if the Battle for Olympus event has been anything to go by, they could be a lot of fun. So what do these new talents look like? How many do we know about? And what hints might the latest Battle for Olympus event give us for what PvE might bring in 2023? Talents are essentially a new ability system part of Overwatch 2's hero missions, which sees you teaming up with your mates to take down the Omnics, with Ramatra playing a big role as an antagonist, obviously. And despite Blizzard doing their best to not go into much detail about the talents or how they'll work, we do know a few details already. We know, at least as of last year, that each hero will be getting about 40 to 50 talents that they can choose to unlock, which could mean more than 2,000 talents, which is quite a lot. And we know they'll be split along 3 skill trees that sort them into kind of categories of effects. For example, Reinhardt's trees are Crusader, Juggernaut and Guardian, with each focusing on strengthening a particular aspect of his ability kit, like his shield or his hammer. And there will be a limit on the number of talents you'll be able to spend within those trees, so there is actually some balance and decision making involved, especially with the top tier talents, which seem to essentially add new abilities to heroes' kits. So, quickly as we can, here's all the current talents we've seen in promos and reveals so far, although keep in mind some of this info is over a year old by now, so there is a solid chance they'll have been tweaked by the time they get to us. We'll start with Tracer. For them, low-level skills focus on her damage dealing. Adaptive Reload reloads her pulse pistols whenever she uses an ability, and Chain Reaction adds a secondary explosion to anyone hit by her Pulse Bomb ultimate. Higher level abilities include Flash that damages enemies if you blink through them, which is incredible. Hindsight causes using Recall to deal damage to recently weakened enemies, and at the highest tier of Tracer talents we've seen so far we have Vortex, that pulls enemies to the point of Tracer's recall ability and snares them, and Speed Kills that speeds up cooldowns for every killing blow Tracer scores. Pretty decent. For Hanzo and Genji we've got, well, way less info. We only know about one of their talents each, and we don't even know what tier they'll be in, but Hanzo's Sojiro's Guidance talent sounds pretty damn good, causing any arrow that hits an enemy that's been detected by Sonic Arrow to seek out and hit all other detected enemies. Killer for crowds of Omnics. And for Genji, Dragon's Breath adds a ranged option to his ult, allowing Dragon Blade slashes to create a large piercing projectile that'll eviscerate any enemies in its path. Overwatch 2's Resident Ice Queen Mei has a hell of a lot of utility to unlock as well. The Cold Snap talent instantly freezes nearby enemies when Cryo Freeze ends, and Shatter causes frozen enemies to literally shatter on death, dealing damage to all enemies around them. Snowball Effect is a hilarious sounding ability that lets Mei keep moving after using Cryo Freeze, and knocks enemies out of your way. And Hypothermia allows Blizzard to instantly kill frozen enemies under 200 health. And if that wasn't good enough for you, at the highest tier of Mei's talents that we know of so far, we have Frostbite, which causes frozen enemies to take more damage, and Polar Vortex, which amps up Blizzard's area of effect to 11 and ignores line of sight. Not bad at all. For Torbjorn, we've seen a couple of talents that'll switch up how his turrets work, each one likely being more useful depending on what kind of mission you're taking the engineer on. Flamethrower does what it says on the tin, his turrets have a flamethrower instead of a minigun, and the My Babies talent doesn't quite do what it says on the tin, it just lets Torb place 3 mini turrets instead of 1 big one. So that's DPS, onto the tank. Reinhardt's known talents have been pretty well documented even before we got to the potential crossover from Battle for Olympus. Fireburst adds an explosion and burn effect to his Fire Strike. Frenzy speeds up Ryan's hammer swings every time you land a hit, presumably with some kind of max limit on it. Impact Converter transfers rocket hammer damage to recharge for your barrier field. Amplification Field adds a damage buff to any friendly projectiles fired through it, like Baptiste ult. Baldrick's Stand whacks up Ryan's armor and damage output when his barrier breaks. The Fault Line talent turns Earth Shatter into a narrower AoE but massively buffs its damage, and finally the Epicenter talent causes Ryan's ult to travel in every direction. An earth-shattering combo, you might say. Yeah, alright, that's enough of that. On to the supports. Lucio has had a fair few talents leaked out thanks to promo stuff. Healing Wave causes Lucio's Sound Wave to heal allies for 25% of their maximum health, and the Mashup talent will allow him to play both Speed Boost and Healing songs when he uses Amp It Up. Beat Matching adds extra healing to Healing Boost depending on the damage Lucio deals while using Speed Boost. Fortissimo adds additional projectiles to Sonic Amplifier for every enemy Lucio hits with Sound Wave. Accelerando reduces Amp It Up's cooldown by half a second whenever he lands a crit, and Power Skating buffs Soundwave's damage and knockback based on Lucio's speed. So just all-round buffs for the Beatmaster support. We have also seen a little bit of Mercy's skill tree as well, but sadly there isn't much to go on what it'll actually contain, aside from slightly buffing the range on her Caduceus staff. And there's even been a little bit of Soldier 76's, but but again, with frustratingly little detail. Still, it's already easy to see that there's some serious synergy between some of these talents, both within the heroes' skill trees themselves and in the different ways you can have them interact with and buff your teammates. Lucio's Amp It Up buff combined with Ryan's Frenzy could lead to a hilarious but also pretty dangerous level of hammer swing speed, and Battle for Olympus's tweaked powered up versions of various heroes' abilities might actually provide a bit more insight into what kinds of buffs will be included in the PvE skill trees, and how they'll be integrated into heroes' kits, adding improvements to ults, or just straight up adding a new ability to their repertoire to up their utility or pure damage output. Ryan's Charge is a complete pain to deal with in the LTM, and it's a lot of fun to use, so perfect for a PvE environment, and it fits in with what we know about Ryan's skill trees, potentially sliding nicely into the Crusader tree. And Farah's buff to Barrage lets her actually move and fly around while scattering explosive projectiles at everything around her, is something we absolutely want to see in PvE. Although it'd probably be a late, hell, maybe even a capstone unlock, since it's pretty deadly even on other human players. As for the others, well, we're not likely to see Widowmaker turning Omnics to stone at any point, but a buff to her ult, or even a straight up rework into something like Soldiers that allows her to auto aim onto Omnics for a few seconds, would be the perfect high tier talent for the sniper. And again, it's PvE, so the devs can go a bit wild without having to worry too much about game balance. Obviously, there is a chance none of these abilities make the cut for PvE. Even the ones we know about are based on what is now some pretty old promo material, so there's a decent shot that some of these have been significantly changed or dropped entirely with how long the PvE process is taking. Still, it looks like a late 2023 release date is on the horizon for Overwatch 2's flagship mode. And if, specifically the abilities from Battle for Olympus, and nothing else, and what little we've seen revealed so far is anything to go on, you know, it might just live up to the hype yet. Let us know down in the comments what kind of abilities you want to see in Overwatch 2 PvE, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more Overwatch 2 content like this. And if you want a rundown of everything we know about PvE so far, check out this video right here. Thanks for watching.